Here is your state-by-state update for August 2025. Hey, I'm Morgan Davis. I'm a health and wellness attorney based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's talk about how to keep your business protected and thriving. One of the biggest needs in the hemp and cannabis industry is the ability to keep up with all the constantly moving regulations, legislation, administrative regulations, attorney general press releases, all the different moving pieces you as a business owner or a consumer have to keep track of to say, hey, can I actually sell this product here, or create this product here, or consume this product here? My gift to the industry is once a month I do these updates where we go state by state and talk about what I see as the biggest changes or the biggest upcoming changes for the next month across the United States. So as of August 14th, 2025, here is your hemp update. The theme for August is out of office. And if you've been paying attention to Texas, pretty much the entire Democratic House of Representatives is out of office. The state of Texas, if you recall, in July, the Texas legislature ended, the normal session ended. The governor called a special session. And on the agenda was the topic of the continued legality of hemp products in the state of Texas. SB 3 was a total ban on THC that passed in the regular session, both houses ultimately, and then was vetoed by the governor. He calls back a special session, adds several things onto the agenda, SB 3 being one of them. Now, SB 3 has been vetoed, so the Senate reintroduces SB 5, which is basically carbon copy of SB 3. SB 5 gets pretty quickly passed by the Senate during the special session, and then goes to the House, except all of the Democrats in the Texas House of Representatives have left the state. Why? Because there's also another item on the agenda is redistricting, and they are posted up at different states around the country in protest of the special session trying to redistrict several Democrats out of office in the state of Texas. In the short term, that continues to save the hemp industry in Texas. The Governor Abbott announced yesterday, though, that the special session is supposed to sine die or end tomorrow, August 15th. We all think it's going to. He has said, if you leave this special session without deciding these issues, I'm going to call you all right back with the same agenda. So we get to probably do this all over again in a couple of weeks. When? We'll just have to wait and see. Nebraska. The legislative session in Nebraska ended also in June, I believe, and there was yet another attempt to severely throttle the hemp industry in Nebraska that failed. However, the Attorney General just really has something in his heart to get rid of hemp in the state of Nebraska. His latest attempt at that is that he's filed in Lancaster County in Nebraska, he's filed a lawsuit against a company called Savage Enterprises, which is based in Wyoming. It's a California company. It's a Wyoming company that's based in California. Savage Enterprises is a national product manufacturer that sells products all over the country, including into the state of Nebraska. The lawsuit is based on the idea that the products themselves are labeled in such a way that are not in compliance with Nebraska law, specifically the Consumer Protection Act, that are attractive to children, and that are misleading in that they contain potencies vastly different than what is on the label. These are claims we've seen in other federal lawsuits filed against companies like Cookies and Stizzy. It is becoming more and more a vehicle through which governments and private entities can attempt to attack the hemp industry, is by saying your labeling does not reflect what's actually in the package. That's why it's extremely important that you guys make sure whatever you're making complies with both federal and state law when it comes to products for human consumption. This is by no means the first lawsuit that the AG has filed. This is the 16th he's filed against hemp companies in the state of Nebraska. He has sent out 225 cease and desist letters since being in office to hemp companies across the state of Nebraska, 21 in the last month. So he's just picking up steam, guys. The key takeaways from the lawsuit are Savage Enterprises is alleged to have no age gating on their website, meaning they don't ever ask if you're 21 in order to purchase. And they have several promos in their marketing, both on their website and through Instagram and other social media channels, that are giving away things like Nintendo Switches and other things that could be considered attractive to children, as well as their products. Big no-no. I highly suggest that if anybody is thinking about handing out Game Boys and other things that, yes, may be used by adults, but are generally toys marketed to children or video games marketed to children, don't mix those with your hemp and cannabis products. Bad idea. New Mexico. On August 1st, New Mexico announced an emergency regulation that becomes effective tomorrow, August 15th. Not very nice, New Mexico. By the Environment Department, which is the regulating body in New Mexico for these products. And essentially, it applies really only to those facilities based in New Mexico, specifically the manufacturing, processing, and storage facilities for hemp products in New Mexico. They are no longer allowed to use synthetic or semi-synthetic cannabinoids. Those are defined in the statute, and they're defined quite broadly. It's going to get rid of the ability to manufacture with most things like Delta 8, Delta 10, HHC, THCO, you name it, in the state of New Mexico. It does allow the use of some specified, they say, non-intoxicating semi-synthetic compounds like CBN, THCV, and others that are common additives in hemp products that can only be produced through what they're deeming to be a synthetic means, meaning they occur in such small amounts in the plant normally that they can only be produced through conversion. If they fall within that list, which is specified in the statute, then they can be used, but they have to be, the extract itself has to be 98% pure, and it has to be identified to the agency prior to use. I'm going to put the link in the comments so you guys can see the notice for yourself. But this is, if you are a manufacturer or a processor or a warehouse for hemp products in the state of New Mexico, this is very important information for you to know because it's effective basically immediately. Alabama, as you all know, if you've been paying attention for the past couple months, Alabama passed a bill that significantly changed the hemp industry. Online sales are no longer allowed in the state of Alabama. All manufacturers and distributors and licensee, all manufacturers, distributors, and retailers now have to be licensed. There are no smokable products in the state of Alabama. Lots of warning label requirements, etc. Right now, the Department of Agriculture in Alabama continues to be the regulating body for the hemp industry. As of January 1, the Alabama ABC will take over, and all hemp products will go into the 3-tier system that is regulated just like alcohol. So in preparation for that, the Alabama ABC proposed regulations that are now published. Soon they will publish a hearing date and a comment period so that the public can send in comments and objections and issues that they see with the proposed regulations. There'll be a public hearing and then the final rules will be issued. There are quite a lot of proposals already put in there about provisions that will be specific to the state of Alabama. Again, I'm going to put the link in the comments so you can look at them for yourselves. We're just going to highlight a few. Serving sizes and container sizes. Beverages not going to be more than 1 serving in a single container, no more than 12 ounces in container size, and no more than 10 milligrams of THC. So no multiple servings allowed in the state of Alabama with a 12-ounce cap. They have a child-resistant packaging standard that is quite specific as to it having to be a 2-step process to remove the seal on the packaging. There are exceptions to that, one of them being a pop top can or a screw top. But otherwise, for your gummies, your vapes, your anything else you're selling there, you're going to have this two-step opening, which includes snap lock closures, tamper evident closures, push and turn caps, to name a few. Label approval. You can submit your label you will be able to submit your label to the Kentucky ABC for pre-market approval. If your label is approved pre-market, great, because if your label is not approved pre-market and you send it in and it gets confiscated, then all of your product is coming off the shelf until you fix it. So I highly recommend that everybody take advantage of the pre-market approval process. It's only $50 a label. Specific licensing, no additives to consumable hemp products. So lots of states have this add-on where it says no intoxicating substances or unapproved additives to cannabinoids, well, to hemp products. Much like Georgia, which has a similar provision, this language is often written very broadly and could include a number of things, one of which is caffeine. This issue is coming up in Georgia right now, where there's starting to be some noise from the Georgia Department of Agriculture that no products can contain caffeine with a cannabinoid. That's not specifically in the regulation, but it is part of one of these broad definitions of no additives. So make sure that if you have a product that has other things in it other than hemp, which might be considered an additive under some of this language, that you're taking a look at your formulation and whether you want to get an opinion from the Department of Agriculture or the ABC in advance to see how they're going to feel about your product, or if you're going to go the, ask forgiveness, not permission route. There are quite a lot of record-keeping requirements for retailers in the state of Alabama and a monthly reporting of those records, including the number of people you've sold to, what you've sold to them each, names, contact information, all of that. So if you're a retailer in the state of Alabama, I would take a close look at these proposed regulations, because it's going to be a heavy burden on you if you don't have a POS system which captures all this information currently. That's it for what's currently proposed in the state of Alabama. Stay tuned as the rulemaking process goes through, then we'll update you as to what actually gets adopted. Final on the topics of discussion for today is what's happening at the federal level. Not much in the state of August because basically the legislature is on vacation. However, President Trump made an announcement in the past 3 days that, well, he didn't make an announcement. He mentioned in a press conference that a decision was going to be made soon on rescheduling marijuana. He did not indicate in which direction that decision would be made. In fact, the first part of the comment was marijuana is a complicated topic. Some people hate it, some people love it. But that a decision would be coming soon. A lot of people ask, well, what does that mean? Is he going to reschedule? What's it going to do to hemp? One, we don't know if he's going to reschedule or if that will be the executive branch's recommendation. The indications have been that he will, but as with all things in this industry, don't count your chickens, right? What's it going to do to the hemp industry? So rescheduling marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 does not make it completely legal like hemp. You have to remember, hemp was removed from the Controlled Substances Act entirely. Marijuana will still be a controlled substance, but it will be in a schedule that allows it to be prescribed as a medicine. That means that a federal market for medicinal marijuana could be created after that. What does that market look like? We have no idea. Will it still allow the existing state programs to continue the way they are? We have no idea. There's a lot of question marks around what rescheduling will look like. As far as what it will do to the hemp industry, it's more a question of what will happen to the market. If, and a lot of that's dependent on what it looks like when it actually happens. If the market simply opens for medical marijuana across the United States, Will it be a state-by-state determination as to who's going to make it available to their citizens and who's not? Will it be a universal system where only people of a certain age or who fall within certain illnesses are allowed to use it? Or will it be a medicine that any doctor anywhere can prescribe? We don't know. So what can we look at to come up with an answer? Well, we can look at states where medical and or adult use programs exist and hemp is still a thriving industry. There are lots of examples like that around the country. Illinois, Maine, Arizona until recently, because they have now tried to ban hemp. California. There are plenty of states where there is a thriving hemp industry and also a medical and or adult use market. What does that mean? That means that there is some portion of our population that is still being served by the hemp industry, even when they might have access to medicinal cannabis. Why is that? One, because some people aren't going to qualify depending on what the qualifications are to get a medical cannabis card or to have it prescribed to you. Two, a lot of people don't particularly love the dispensary experience. So when there's a legal product that you can pick up at your convenience store or at a store that's a little less obvious, or that you can order online, there are a lot of people that are going to opt for that and still not go the route of a regulated retail experience. I don't think rescheduling is going to completely eliminate the hemp industry. I do think that it will have a massive effect on the United States as a whole and how we view cannabis. And what that means 10 to 15 years from now is anybody's best guess. I hope this was helpful to you. If you find that this is not enough information and that you need more help specific to your business or your product line, we do offer 50 state summaries that are product specific or business specific to our clients on a monthly basis. And we'd be happy to talk to you about your needs and how we can address them. Otherwise, I'll see you next month.